Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you'll be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, at optimistic.tv, we have officially begun releasing the first few episodes of our new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video variety talk show, Optimistic, which features live visionary art, soul share interviews, retreat guests here at the Mystic Manor, as well as live musical performances. I'm also super excited to announce that we are currently making plans to release the rest of Season 1 on my personal favorite online streaming service. So stay tuned to optimistic.tv to follow the unfolding development of this exciting Optimistic expansion, as we'll be posting more info and release dates there soon. And in the meantime, be sure to check out, of course, the first few episodes at optimistic.tv as well. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. It is a fantabulous Friday here in the studio as I record. Grateful, as always, to be back with you guys. Gratitude is the key to more of what we want to see, right? So hopefully you're finding lots of things to be grateful about out there today. I hope you are focusing on what you want to see more of. And if you're finding yourself focusing on what you don't want to see more of, that's okay. Every moment's another chance to turn it all around, and just take this as your little reminder to, focus on that key of gratitude. My dear friend Satara made me a mala recently, and it has a key on it, and on the back of the key says gratitude. And so I ended up actually gifting it to my mother, who had a really powerful moment recently where she was just feeling overwhelmed with gratitude, and definitely like a spiritual experience, I think, for her in a sense, where just all of this energy after having been, my mother got pretty sick and was in the hospital with a bacterial infection, and it was kind of scary for all of us to see. And so as soon as she got out, and she had been in and out for went and then came home and then had to go back. And then, after being home for a few days, she had this moment of the sun was just out, and I was so happy to be feeling, on the recovery and on the mend. And it, all it takes is that little bit of perspective sometimes to open up the gates of gratitude. And, if we can purposefully, intentionally focus on opening those gates of gratitude, then we can, start to receive the gifts that are on the other side. Everything that we want is on the other side of that. More of what you want is on the other side of being grateful for where you are at and what you have now. And I think of my brother still says to this day, he got arrested a long time ago for a ticket or something stupid that he didn't take care of when he was 22 or something. And he ended up being stuck in jail for a couple days. And he is definitely not the type that would thrive in that environment. Very sensitive, very it really screwed with him. It was hard. And that night he got out, I made him a Hot Pocket. And he always says to this day, that's the best meal he's ever had, because he was so grateful to be out. And so anyway, I'm grateful for each and every one of you to continue to tune in and support, and tell your friends and family about this show. It's such a gift to be able to share and co-create with each of you. And, thinking of that, it made me think, what? It's been a long time since I've read a review. You guys who are OG P-heads, I used to read reviews all the time on iTunes, which, iTunes is sort of the holy grail of all things podcasting, and getting reviews on there helps us to reach new listeners and that sort of thing. And I used to, always read them, and then people, ask people to go and review. And you know what? I just thought of it today. I was like, I should just highlight someone's review and just thank you guys that, still are doing those. And if you haven't left a review on iTunes, that's a great way to support the show. And I'm going to go ahead and take a moment here and read from Antonia PIP. Said, thank you, 5 stars. I've been battling with depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts since I've been 11. After not wanting to take antidepressants anymore, I woke up and thought to myself, this is not how I want to feel anymore. Life is life, and I'm living it, so might as well try to make it a positive time. I've been listening to this podcast since, and yes, even with some downfalls in my spiritual journey, this podcast always brings my vibration back up. I've been realizing this journey is the rest of my life, and I'm ready to commit. However, I'm still battling with some beginner things I'm not quite sure how to handle, such as, how do I go about not comparing myself? I know you've talked about this before, but how do I not give up in myself when not seeing results? How do I keep trust? 2, reflections. I'm having a really hard time trying to understand how people you talk to reflect yourself, and how do I go learning from that person? 3, what habits or first actions you'd recommend for a beginner in self-healing? What are the do's and don'ts? If you happen to not respond, then it is my sign that it was supposed to happen, and I'm totally okay with that. Just thought I'd try. Thank you guys at the Positive Head Podcast. Thank you for saving me. How funny is this? Because I really, I haven't read reviews in so long, and I wasn't really planning on, I just felt inspired to do it. And and then of course this person is like looking in the review for some sort of a response, which partially covers what I plan to talk about today, the question. So the synchronicity is just so incredible. And as far as comparing yourself, I'll just say, and by the way, before I move on, Antonia, thank you for writing in. And if you guys would take the time to write in, like I said, it helps us to reach new people. And maybe I'll just continue to read these as I used to many years ago. And it feels really good to get the feedback. And I know it's probably cool for, people to hear their words. And Antonia, in this case, was looking for a response. So who'd have thunk it? I didn't even read this before turning on the microphone here. So yeah, I mean, as far as reflections, it's like, or comparing yourself, it's, first off, everything and everyone is a reflection of you in some way. And 2, it's a divine dichotomy and different vantage points for looking at anyone and everything. So always learning to tell the story that in a way that's going to serve you. So that's the short answer. It's like if you're seeing or comparing yourself to someone and you're thinking they're better than you, right? Oh, this person pops up on my Instagram feed and I'll never look like that. Oh, wow, they're doing such cool things with their life, whatever it is, right? Or a friend or a family member or a coworker or whatever. Instead of telling the story that it is somehow they're better than you or superior or any of that comparison stuff in a negative light, start flipping the script and telling it as, here's how I tell it. I was like, wow, this thing's really attractive. I really like this about this person. I really would like to see more of what they've got going on in their life. And you know what the good news is? It's actually in my face in this moment. Out of infinite things that could be vying for my attention and capturing my attention, I'm seeing and being attracted to this and even giving it my attention and energy and thought in this moment, right? So it's a close enough vibrational match that I'm actually seeing it. And that is a very powerful way to tell the story. That which is likened to itself is drawn, right? So if you're calling something in that you would quote unquote compare yourself to negatively, instead of doing that, compare yourself to it in a positive light. Wow, I'm calling this in and it's seen, I'm sitting here, I'm bumping up against it because I'm such a close vibrational match. I must be heading in that direction too. And that is the way to flip the script so that it actually serves you. And as what's great is no matter how you tell the story, you're making it true. So this is certainly truer of the ultimate truth, I would say too. There's relative truth. There's it gets very nuanced, but I would say the ultimate truth is if you're attracting it, it's reflecting you in some way. And now, as far as how people, and that was another part of the question, how do I deal with reflections maybe that are challenging or something like that? And that's where there's a little synchronicity with my story today. I've had 2 interactions in the last few days that were what I'll call waves of challenging energy. And both have to do with the Mystic Manor and people staying here at the Mystic Manor. As you guys who have been listening for a long time know, the Mystic Manor is this property I moved into a year ago that, is a big, epic spaceship-looking property in Venice, California, where we moved into it with the intention of doing retreats for listeners like yourself, and week-long retreats, and then filming the new late-night style consciousness-centric variety talk show Optimistic that we started to release and then halted the releases because there's definitely some good news coming around it, but it's been slowed down because of COVID. So yeah, there'll be an update on that soon. It will be. You'll be hearing about it sooner than later. I'm hoping any day, really, but it's going to be coming out on a platform, and it's just a slowed down process. But anyway, that's not the point of what I wanted to say. So we are here at the Mystic Manor. We've been doing these retreats. COVID hits. I have to stop doing retreats because of COVID. Oh my gosh, this place is very expensive. How do I continue to pay for it? We're going to, the idea with the retreats, of course, is COVID willing, actually, we're going to start them again in late fall and start filming season 2 of Optimistic in late fall is the plan, and releasing the full season of it starting in the fall as well. So, there's some people that were planning to come. That's once again, COVID willing, there's some question marks there, but in the meantime, what have I been doing? Well, I got to do something to keep paying for this place, and so it's like, okay, I will look at doing temporary, like month-to-month sublease stuff. So that's what we've been doing. So I had 2 issues around that come up in the last few days. And one of them was someone who came and stayed here and then decided very short notice that they wanted to, wasn't quite right for them and they wanted to go and be somewhere else, which, is completely fine. Certainly their prerogative. And however, we did have an agreement in place that did not allow for them to, there's a deposit involved and all those things. And so the person did not want, they wanted to just cancel it and not have to be able to get their deposit back. And, I made look, here's our agreement. That's not in line with our agreement. And now for me, how is this person reflecting me? Well, or even less reflecting, I would say, as offering what I need to grow, right? Because I was, irritated. I am very fiery, right? And this person was making an argument, for their case that I didn't see the same way. This person remained, I got to give it to them. They're very calm. I can tend to get super excitable and fiery and, dramatic with my words and, surprise, surprise, right, guys? So we had sort of our first interaction about it was not as smooth as, I would have liked to have been in my own delivery, even though I stand by my sort of perspective and stand by my stance that I made. My delivery was not as graceful and non-reactive as I'd liked it to be. Now, that same day, coincidentally, I just had also posted on social media, hey, if you're looking for a place month to month, come stay at the Mystic Manor, and we put it on social media and everything, right? Just coincidentally. And then I had a friend reach out to me and say, hey, this ad for coming, or this post for coming to stay at the Mystic Manor, as a month-to-month, stay or whatever is tone deaf, right? It's because of everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter and, all of that's been happening out there. I had one of many pictures that was posted was, of course, pictures of the property and all that stuff on our Instagram, which, by the way, you guys can follow it. We are Optimistic. And Optimistic is spelled with a Y, like mystical. But anyway, so, pictures of the property, of course, mostly. But then there's one picture of those of us who are here, at one point throughout the last year, the group of people that were here. And it's mostly white people and a couple Asian people. One person who's Chilean, or Chilean. One of the parents is Chilean, kind of thing. But generally white, and then some Asian folks. And so this person reached out to me and said, "Look, this is tone deaf. You shouldn't be posting a conscious community, and you're not saying there's no one black in this picture, right?" And of course, I came back to that. I was like, "Look, I'm just posting a real picture of who's here. The ad said all magical beings, anyone who's interested in coming to a conscious community are welcome, right? There's no discrimination of any kind." And I just posted a picture of showing us all like celebrating, a group picture we did once, right? That showed kind of the fun of this place. And so once again, this person kind of came at me very like aggressive at first, coming at me with, this is white spiritual bypassing and all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not excluding anyone of color. I mean, there's Asian people in this picture. There's, we have someone here who's trans now. Like, I'm open to everyone. What are you talking about? But what I'm getting at for sharing this story is, I was reactive. I was same as the other story. I was like pretty fiery with my reaction. And so what happens with me if I get in that state? Both of these happened. And then I'm always willing to self-analyze. And so the next day, the person who, wanted to leave early came and we talked about it. And I still was a little fiery and still, had my stance. But at the end, it's like, I was like, and I'm even willing to say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate your calmness. Even though I'm not agreeing with you, I really appreciate that, because I'm doing my best to get there, and sometimes I'm not as good at it as you, and I'm kind of pissed about what you're saying here, and you're so calm and whatever. So, but we get to a good place. I end up making a concession. Okay, if I can fill the spot, by the 1st of August, I'll make an exception, even though contractually I don't need to give you your deposit back. I will do that. So I make that concession, just always to try and put myself as much as possible in the other person's shoes as I can, even if I don't agree. We hug it out. We the first day I was pretty disappointed with how the interaction went, and now we've kind of made we're not full in agreement, but we really had a relatively positive way of leaving it, right? Then the person who had reached out to me on social media reached out and was apologetic. Said, "You know what? I came at you very cross yesterday. You're right for saying I have no idea what you've been doing to help the situation, or and judging you and all that." And you know what I said back to her? I was like, "Wow, I really appreciate it. It takes a big person to come and do that." And by the way, my reaction wasn't everything it wanted to be either. So, I apologize for that. And so both were resolved in a really good way. And so what was really interesting, and why I want to share this, is one, always being willing to look at yourself and self-examine and acknowledge where you're out of alignment. Even if you don't agree with the other person, if them coming at you with something that you don't agree, and then you're reacting in a way that's not, it's not peaceful, or it's agitated or aggro, or maybe you get kind of like taking jabs at them that is, not the most mature thing to do or whatever, then, be willing to acknowledge that. And I've gotten to a place where I really am, and it feels good, honestly. And what's great is it helps lead to resolution so in this case, both of these resolved. And what was so cool about it is, so I made with the person who wanted to leave early. Okay, if someone, if 3 different subleasers come in, and then I would make the exception and give the deposit back. All of a sudden, we hug it out. Things feel pretty good. All of a sudden, just a flurry of people wanting to come in. I'd also just had the conversation with the person who kind of came at me on social media, and we had a really great healing conversation. All of a sudden, not only did all of a sudden this interest of people just flow in out of nowhere, but the very next morning, a woman shows up here, and I get someone call me downstairs. "Hey, you have a woman here to see the place who wants to sublease." And I'm like, "What?" Someone just showed up without even, setting an appointment or whatever. I go down. It's a black woman who amazing artist. And at first I was like kind of taken back, like, you just showed up here. You were that excited about the post that was, I was getting called out for, that you showed up here at the house. Totally amazing. Super cool. Looks like there's a good chance of her staying here. Then later in the day, a black guy he made an appointment, but I didn't know, what his color was, what his race, ethnicity, whatever it was, shows up. His name is Brandon. He's gay. And he was here with his friend, and they showed up together, and they were the coolest. And they, on the spot, agreed to come and stay. And so it was just like this flurry of activity around these two kind of separate issues that really weave together. And as soon as I had healing interactions with both the people, all of a sudden, all this energy freed up, and in the most synchronistical, magical way. And I just thought it was so powerful. And so, when you get back to this question about, when someone is reflecting yourself, sometimes it's not just like what they're doing is what you're doing in a sense. It's actually bringing out a part of you that needs to be worked on, right? So in both of these scenarios, these people were kind of triggering me. I flared up more than I would like to, still maybe a percentage of what I would have done when I was 20, definitely I've come a long way in my reactivity, but still not everywhere I would like to be. And so, but then, as soon as the waves calm a little bit, and I'm instantly now trained myself to say, gosh, Brandon, look, whether you're right or wrong, if you lose your cool, you lose, right? Would you rather be at peace and happy or right? And so, when I had the chance to interact with both of them the next day, in both cases, I was just like, hey, you know what? We disagreed on this, and I apologize for being more reactive than I would like to. And it, out of that, what came was a wave of positive energy, right? That was reflective of what I had just went through. So yeah, I just want to share that with you guys. And it's all so synchronistic, even me reading this review, because it had, I had no idea that it would actually tie into this. So I love it. I love it. I love it. What I want to share as one last thing here. Oh, the last part of the synchronicity. So then right after that, I get a note from the universe. And I've talked about these a lot because they come in so divinely timed a lot of times. This guy, Mike Dooley, does them. You can sign up at tut.com, TUT.com. And here's the note from the universe I got right after all this. Brandon, the perfection of your every quote unquote issue is beyond human comprehension. Don't be fooled. You've made no mistakes. The territory behind you and the challenges at hand were precisely crafted to deliver the wisdom and insights that'll make possible the most joyful time of your life so far. You didn't come here to face hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. It's not as if by mastering your issues today, more issues will be added tomorrow. That only happens when you deny them today. Master your issues today and be free. Get through what you must get through today. Understand what troubles you today. Do what you can today, and all the rest will be made easy. So little can yield so much. A new perspective, an admission, a surrender to truth, however painful, changes everything. You are so deserving of everything you now want. Sign the universe. And then P.S. Brandon, you totally amaze us. And I loved it. It's like, that's exactly it. So little can yield so much. A new perspective, an admitting when you're off, right? A surrender to truth, however painful, changes everything. Just a little change in that perspective can shift so much. So, just remembering that, like, it's so important. That little bit of you, and it hurts sometimes, like, it hurts your ego to ever admit when you're wrong and all that stuff. And what I found is the more I've done it, the easier it gets. And that little bit of opening energetically that it creates, it's well worth it. Be willing to self-examine. Be willing to always look back and say, okay, this person, what is this showing me about myself? How is this helping me to become a better person? How is this helping me to become a smooth sailor? And as I always say, smooth seas never made for a skilled sailor, right? But you came to be a skilled sailor, so the waves are coming, and they're going to come in the form of people challenging you in ways that you see as unreasonable or unfair or what have you. And rise to the occasion, surf the waves of challenging energy. And with that being said, I have a song here that someone sent me actually a few years ago. Said that it reminded them of me, and this note from the universe actually reminds me of the song, because the song is called "You Amaze Me," and the artist is called La Force. The Force, I guess. Yeah, the Force. May the Force be with you. This is the Force. This is the power of the Force. We're all amazing. Hope you enjoy this song. Till next time, journey well. Love you so, so much. And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
You amaze me. I will follow you blind if you lead. You amaze, you amaze, you amaze me. And you are more boy than any man could be. And how do you explode so slowly? How do you explode so slowly?